Hi, I'm Nura Asmaizadeh.
And I'm Elizabeth Aston, and we're hosting Teen Forum.
The Teen Forum is a platform for high schoolers to express their ideas with you, the viewer.
We'll be discussing balance in the lives of teenagers. Our panelists include
Salman Jaberi is a sophomore at Calabasas High School, plays for the soccer team, and also loves eating cereal.
Jasleen Chadha is a sophomore at Calabasas High School. She's a dancer and she teaches at her religious school.
Sadie Rudinsky is a sophomore at Calabasas High School. She's an avid runner and loves chocolate and avocado, but not together.
Zainab Jamali is a sophomore at Calabasas High School, teaches karate, and is president of She's the First Club. Again, our topic is balance in the life of teens.
To start off, I wanted to ask Salman and everyone, what activities do you guys engage in? So why don't you start us off?
Well, I go to school obviously, and I'm on the soccer team. Well, outside of school, I also play a lot of video games.
Well, I mean, along with school, I dance and I go to religious school, so I find that takes a lot of my time.
I am a blogger at goodiesagainstthegrain.com. I'm also a writer. I'm currently writing a book, and I have a podcast called Jump for Joy.
I'm a second degree black belt in martial arts, and I'm an instructor, and I'm also a tutor as well as going to school.
Nura and I run a tutoring program, and so we do a lot of tutoring, and
It's hard to find a balance between school and all these activities. So out of all of those activities, which one do you think takes up a majority of your time? So why don't we start with you again, Salman?
I would say probably video games.
Can you?
I have to say school. I mean, a lot of homework and studying for tests.
I think outside of school, what probably takes the longest for me is testing recipes, and also writing takes up a lot of time, but I love it.
I'd have to agree with Jasleen and say school takes up most of my time. Yeah.
So how many hours do you spend doing homework every night?
It depends really.
On an average night, how many hours would you say?
Probably an hour.
Well, I mean, since Calabasas has block schedule, I feel like it helps balance out. So on average, about 1 to 2 hours.
Yeah, I probably spend about an hour every day, and then I go on to my extracurriculars, so I get the homework done first. It feels good.
I'd probably say an average about 2 hours. Yeah.
I did the exact opposite.
Really?
I do my homework later at night.
I mean, I know for us, a lot of us take a lot of the honors and AP classes, and finding a balance between having to study for 3 honors classes and making time for studying for your AP class, but then still making time to do math homework, studying for that Spanish test. It gets really difficult, right?
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
So how many hours would you say you get to spend with your family per night?
I spend a lot of time with my family. We like to eat dinner together, and one of our favorite things is to play cards after dinner. So I probably spend about 3 hours with my family every night, but it might not be only time with them. We might be working on our separate projects all in the same room together, but it still feels nice.
How often do you guys feel stress about school or academics?
Pretty much every day. I mean, completely objectively, I just feel like, every time you have an assignment where the teacher's kind of stressed that it's important, you start feeling like it's really important, and you start prioritizing it maybe more than you should. Well, at least that's how I feel, but I do get stressed pretty easily.
That or over weekends when you're supposed to have a break, you find yourself worrying about homework that's due along with doing other activities.
Anything?
I get stressed mostly when there's test weeks, because I start freaking out.
And I personally feel like we have test weeks every day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There hasn't been a week this year that I haven't had at least
Yeah.
one test or quiz,
Yeah.
which is horrible.
Yeah.
Do you guys say you have a fair balance between spending time with your family and doing homework, just school stuff?
Ooh.
I'd say I definitely try. I definitely make an effort, but then there's some days where my family just knows that I kind of have to sit and focus and do my work. But I definitely try to make an effort to balance that, and my family does understand, so that helps.
Like Sadie mentioned earlier, I try to get my homework done so I can spend time with my family, but there are some days when I just have to prioritize homework.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's hard to find a balance when you have passions that don't involve school and school. So you really have to work on like having time to do your extracurriculars. Like if I want to test a recipe and put it on my blog, I'll have to finish all my homework first, and then instead of like going to watch TV or going on my phone or something, I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna go make a recipe now, because I know that that's something I really care about and want to do. So I really just have to prioritize it if I want to get it done.
And I know from speaking from my experience, I will have soccer practice till 5 after school, and then I'll be tutoring kids at the library for 3 hours after school. It'd be 8 o'clock. I missed having dinner with my family, and then I'm stuck in my room doing homework for 3 hours. So there's certain days where I even go without talking to my mom or being able to FaceTime my sister. So it's really hard for high schoolers to find that balance.
Yeah, sometimes you just can't.
Yeah.
It's really hard,
Is there something you guys wish you had more time for?
I definitely wish I had more time to train. Recently, because of an injury, I haven't been able to train as much, but just in general, I used to miss a lot of classes for schoolwork, and I just wish I could spend more time like doing what I love. On the mat.
I wish there were 24 hours of, I guess there are 24 hours in a day. I wish there were 24 hours of being awake in a day to do all the things I want to do, because like I want to write a song and play guitar, but I don't have time every day. Because again, like I said, I have to prioritize these certain things, and with homework and being in school for 6 hours a day, you definitely have to narrow down what you're going to focus on.
What about you, Salman?
Well, I wouldn't say it's necessarily hard to find time to do everything. It's just that some days, like, you feel like doing something else instead of like playing video games, like staying with family and like hanging out with my brother. But sometimes I just get like, really lazy and like I don't do like the important stuff.
Yeah.
But that's why I like stay up late at night doing them. But
Yeah, I think
sure.
I kind of agree with that. Like at some point you just kind of get tired of like doing schoolwork all the time, and then you feel like it's laziness, but it's really that you're just kind of burnt out, you know?
Yeah.
I feel that sometimes, like in the middle of the semester, I'm just like, I don't want to do this anymore,
And
you know?
when you feel that feeling of like being overwhelmed, you think, okay, what can I do about this? And your solution is, maybe I should take less classes. But then you have to think, if I'm not taking this many honors classes or getting these classes done, then it affects me later in life. It might affect me going to college.
it's like a spiral. Like it just keeps going down and down.
Yeah.
It's like
It's a very
I'm
doomsday kind of
stressed
analogy.
because
for
I'm
it,
stressed. I'm not gonna do homework because I'm not doing homework. I'm more stressed, and it just keeps going down and down.
I feel like slowly
until you're
becomes
done
a
with it.
routine.
Stressing
Yeah.
about stressing.
And it's not fair. I mean, a lot of places, America is kind of the only place where it's like this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When you go to places, I have cousins in Sweden, for example, and they get no homework a lot of the times.
Yeah.
It's more just in school. They have less hours of school, and it's very
And they're definitely,
beneficial.
they're
Right.
definitely encouraged to like go with their passions, whereas like, you know, here you have to take math, you have to take social studies, and you kind of have to stick to a certain amount of classes that you have to take. And so even if you do try to open up more time for your passions, it's a lot of times it's really difficult just because there's no leniency in the system.
Yeah. Do you guys think that there's a balance in school of academics and creativity?
No.
No.
No,
No,
not
Not at all. You have to take an elective. Like I'm taking art and I love it so much. I wish I had art in some form of art in every class, because it's like the one time of day it's kind of almost like meditative. Like I can decompress and not have to worry about homework or anything. I can just focus on it. And I think that if you want to take an art class in school, it has to be an elective that you take up. And language and science are also electives. So it's like you have to choose if you want to do art or science. And I think they should both be required. I think you should get art in every day.
And getting in on that, you also, at our school, you only have a minimum of taking 1 year of an elective, which is art. I know last year I took photo, and it was so nice to think that part of my homework every night would be go home and take pictures of my family, going out, taking walks around my neighborhood and taking pictures. And now coming into this class, I'm taking 6 academic classes, and I have no creative outlet. How does that?
I definitely feel that, because this year I did decide to take 6 academic classes. I do have to do, you know, the 1 minimum year of art, but I never felt like I could do more. I felt like, you know, I'm taking an art class there, but I could be taking another science, or, you know, I could be taking something else that would maybe reflect better going into college or going into a future career, especially because I'm not necessarily geared toward the arts field, but it would be nice to be able to do something like that every day. just to like relax, like she was saying, something meditative, something calming, whereas the stress of like 6 academic classes in a row.
Yeah, and even in academic classes where there is creativity, they're cutting that out now, like cursive or poetry, and they're not doing that in English classes anymore.
Well, I mean, this year I decided to take yoga instead of PE, and I found that that really helped calm my schedule down because I have math in the morning and then I have chemistry, and if I didn't have yoga to help me balance out my day, I would have been so much more stressed.
Yeah. And I know a lot of you guys do different sports and activities outside of school, like your karate and baking, video games, yoga. How do you find time? Because when you come home, you're just doing homework. Like, how do you make time for that activity that kind of calms you down?
Well, I think that one good thing that Calabasas did was that they put in the block schedule, which really, really helps me, for example, because if I know that I have this, there's some really cool instructor coming to teach a seminar on Wednesday night, I'll get my homework for Thursday done on Tuesday night, and I'll make an effort to kind of carve out time for that, so that makes it a lot easier, the block schedule, at least.
Yeah, I feel like having the block schedule definitely helps you get stuff done beforehand or done on the weekend. So I know this past week I was like, okay, I'm gonna get all my homework done on Friday for the weekend so that I can make a cake and photograph it over the weekend and have time to do stuff outside of school.
It's like a goal you're trying to reach, but it shouldn't be a goal. It should just be part of life. It's like, I have to do this, 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 and this, and then I can reward myself by doing something that I'm passionate about.
Right.
Which is ridiculous.
We should have more time for that, I feel like.
What about you, Jessie?
Well, see, when finals week came around, I had to miss a lot of dance practices because I was studying. I'm like, I can either go to dance and have fun, or I could get an A on my final, and I found myself picking studies over like things I actually enjoy.
Yeah.
I agree with that to like a certain point, because I mean there's some subjects that I actually, I do enjoy to study, but I feel like it becomes such a race to like, a certain point, like, okay, the A on the final, or it not only does it like take you away from your outside of school passions, but it also makes you like resent academics. Like, I don't know, I mean, I love science, but every time like I feel like, oh my God, this stressful test is coming up in chemistry, I don't know, I start feeling like I don't want to do it anymore, and I think that's really sad that anyone would be made to feel that way.
I feel like going back to saying that it's only America it's like this, I've been in another country and I've studied there, and I feel like the main big difference that's like really obvious to me is that you have tests almost at least twice every single week here, whereas you don't really have that. Like, you finish an entire unit and then you have a test at the end, whereas it makes it way less stressful than if you have a quiz here about this section and a quiz there about that section. It's like, it makes it all like really stressful, I feel like.
So then, why do you think society is putting such emphasis on academics and not focusing on creativity? Why do you think that high schoolers feel the pressure of, I need to go study, 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 I can have fun when I'm like 20 or 30?
I feel like everyone's trying to reach a goal, and they form such a routine that it's impossible to break out of it. They feel like if they break out of it just for like one class or anything, they're gonna fall apart.
I think I agree. I think there's like some goal there where people feel like college is like the end game, or like, whatever university that you get into, but really it's your life starts then. And so I think people just kind of need to like adjust their mindset and figure out why they're doing the things they're doing, why they're making the sacrifices they're making, and making sure that it's actually for the right reasons, which there are correct reasons. Like, you do have to put academics into your schedule, but you don't need to necessarily sacrifice everything, and that's a choice that you have to make for yourself based on your whole life, not just 4 years of university.
Yeah, I definitely think everything is geared towards the GPA and the numbers, and a lot of arts and creativity is overlooked. And it's way more academically focused.
My math teacher has a
quote,
saying on her whiteboard that says, pain is temporary, GPA is forever. What are your thoughts on that? Because every time I look at that, I say, what do you mean pain is temporary? I'm killing myself staying up till 3 a.m. studying for a test when I could be sleeping and being healthy for my life.
Fundamental flaw in that quote is the GPA is not forever.
It's
completely not forever, You go to university and then you move on, you have a career, and then from there on out, like, people will not judge you based on your GPA or where you graduated from. It's about your experiences and the kind of person you are, and I think that takes time to develop. And I mean, if you're not focusing on that as well as the academics, it's a mess.
Yeah, and I think like sleep plays a huge factor in this whole thing. If we don't get enough sleep at night, we won't be energized for the test. So that's why I think it's really hard that we're given so much homework, because we're forced a lot of times to stay up really late completing it or studying for a test. And then the morning of the test, we're exhausted and we can't open our eyes and we're too tired to do well. So that's definitely very difficult to navigate, sort of like finishing everything early enough so that you can get a healthy night of sleep.
Yeah.
I can agree with Sadie, because like I think we've all been in a time when we were in the classroom falling asleep. Like, we were
Yes,
all, like,
this morning I was falling asleep. What do you think, Jasmine?
Well, going back to what Sadie was saying about the tests, I don't think we should have that many tests, because personally for me, I found myself that I can teach someone the material, but then I can go to class and I can fail that test. It's just like the pressure of doing well on the test. It doesn't work out for me in general.
And also going back to what Sadie was saying, I find as a high schooler, I'm rationalizing in my head, I can study, I can take sleep out, I can not eat breakfast in the morning and just get more sleep, stay up later and study for the test. We're kind of like taking out important things that are very crucial to growing as teenagers.
I feel like it's the opposite of that quote, like GPA is temporary and pain is forever.
I was thinking
Because
the same thing.
if you're not getting sleep, your health will forever be changed. So
And I mean, also, you know, like, there's so much pressure to do well that, I mean, I don't know, for me personally, where I'm like, at some point, I just kind of feel like, oh my God, I didn't study enough, you know? And then I'm like, I have to go to sleep because there's no way I'm going to learn anything now. And then I don't know, I keep doubting myself, when really, you know, if you just go in like with a clear mind, it helps so much. And I feel like they're not encouraging that in any way.
And the whole end game being college. A lot of students don't even know what that means. I mean, I know recently that I thought maybe I want to take a gap year. And I feel like just by saying that, I'm kind of not going what like society wants me to do. Like I'm thinking I want to take a time to cool off. You know, like what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think I want to do that too. It sounds really amazing, because we're doing school for, 12 years, and it sounds like very stressful, because they put so much pressure on college. And college is so important, but we shouldn't have to sacrifice everything else for that. Yeah. We should be able to have time for our passions and art and sleep and eating healthily, and we don't want to sacrifice all of that just for a GPA.
Yeah. Sure.
On the other hand, though, like I kind of feel, for me personally, I am really excited about the career that I want to go into. And my goal is to just get there so that I can live my life doing what I love to do. And for me, that would mean, I'd have to go through school directly, which is okay. Like, I'll take my summers and I'll relax. And then when I'm done with school, I'll be able to spend my life doing what I love to do. I mean, hopefully. And so that's my personal outlook on it. Not that I'm saying that a gap year is bad, but for me, my goal is to just get to where I need to go.
And just to kind of end things off, what do you guys think we should do to maybe have a more balanced life? What do you think we should be doing as high schoolers to kind of take initiative into that?
I feel like a lot of high schoolers or teenagers in general, like, they complain a little too much because of previous things that happened and don't move on from it. So like because of that, they just it's like as I said, it's like an ongoing spiral. So like it keeps going on all the time. So they just like don't let it go.
And I feel like they need to know that it's okay to break from their routine and like have a moment to like recharge themselves before going back in, doing good, and then taking a break.
Sadie?
I think it's really important for all of us teens to like prioritize our self-care and like not get too stressed out about things. I mean, it's impossible to say don't get stressed out, because I know we all get stressed every day, but to like take a deep breath and realize that the GPA isn't like the end of the world. Yeah. And that to make sure that we have time for our creativity and for academics, and to really just relax a little bit.
And to end,
I agree with that, in that teenagers should take time to focus on themselves, but at the end of the day, like, the system is flawed in that they need limits on maybe how many academic classes you can take, or how many strenuous academic classes you can take, or they need to have time for arts or recreation, or a limit on homework, something to like give teenagers their sanity back.
Yeah. Well, we are the future, so we could fix that potentially.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you guys so much for your input, and it was a great discussion.
And thank you at home for watching. If you would like to watch previous episodes, please check out our website, cityofcalabasas.com.
And if you have any suggestions or want to give input, you can go to info@cityofcalabasas.com.
Thank you and see you next time.